Hi, this is Sonia with Artsy Solutions, and today I want to show you how I made some of these really easy craft paper envelopes. And basically all I used was 8.5 and 11-inch craft paper. I used some old book pages, some stamps, some acrylic paint pens, and I think that was pretty much it. Yeah, and water. Yeah, did I say watercolor paint? That too. So I just made some I guess you'd call it double-sided envelopes. Here's the first one. And basically I just did some stamping, some drawing, and a little bit of doodling, just not a whole lot of doodling. And we have this little envelope here. And I did some stitching around the edges and some watercolors. Like I said, I used the old book pages, watercolors. And this is basically what they look like. And this one right here has like a pocket here and here. And then it also has a pocket right here. And then we have this cute little stamp back here with little sentiments on them. And we have this one and this. And then this is have your little envelope pocket down in there. And then you have these two, which are pretty much similar. I use the same style of painting, watercolor painting, stamping, and use similar stamps on the front and back. Real fun, really easy. So let me just go ahead and show you how I made these. Okay, so today we're going to be making some envelopes, and we're basically just going to use some, I have some Kraft cardstock, and this is extra heavyweight, let's see, 110-pound cardstock or 300 GSM. You don't have to use it this thick, it's just I just happen to have some this thick. You can actually make it thinner if you want, using thinner cardstock or whatever. And I just wanted to use Kraft because I'm wanting to do kind of like a, not necessarily primitive kind of look, but it's like a vintage. You can use it primitive, vintage, shabby chic, that type. So it's going to be kind of like neutral colors in a way. And then of course I'm going to be using some stamps and some archival ink, jet black, some acrylic paint pens, and you could actually use, instead of acrylic paint pens, you could actually use ballpoint pen. Because it's just going to be to highlight different things after I've used some watercolors. And then just some watercolors of whatever your choice. And of course your water. And I've got this little edge punch or corner rounder. That's an option too. And then just some glue of your choice. So what I'm going to do, and book pages. What I'm going to do is, if you have a scoring board, that would help too, but I want to kind of keep these really simple, just so you know you don't have to have a scoring board. You just have to have like a bone folder or something flat. I've been using this for like several years. This is like my bone folder spatula. So what I'm going to do, this is like 8.5 by 11 size paper, and you can make it any size you like. So all I'm going to do is just fold this in half. And like I said, if you have a scoring board, you can use a scoring board. However, you know, whatever you want to use that you're more comfortable with, it's totally fine. So I'm just going to I'm going to smooth out my edges to where this folds in half. Now this particular one, I'm going to fold it down again like this, because this one's going to have a flap. And I'm not really measuring, I'm just kind of folding it over. And like I said, this is going to be the flap. But what we're going to do, keep in mind, all I did was 8.5 by 11, folded it in half on the 5 1/4, on the 8.5, on the 11-inch side, to where it's like 5 1/2. And then I just folded it down approximately how thick of a flap I wanted. And in this case, it's actually approximately, this flap's going to be roughly about 2.5 inches. And like I said, I just kind of guessed at the size of it. And all I'm going to do, we're just going to open this back up. And I'm just going to take this one one piece off. And it has to be opened up when you cut that, because you want your flap to cover up that one side. So we're just going to cut on the score lines, or cut like where it's folded over, where you burnished it at. So when you go put it back like this, then this will be your flap. And keep in mind, we're going to be sealing that back up. Now, what I want to do is I'm going to fold this back over like this. Just gently fold it over. The flat part is what I'm trying to fold. And make sure the two edges meet together. And I'm just going to randomly just hold it tight with this hand, or which, if you're left-handed, if you're right-handed, hold it great with your left hand, and so it doesn't move. And then, of course, use your right hand to cut, and then vice versa if you're left-handed. I'm just going to create like a shape for my flap. So, like that. And you can, there are all sorts of shapes. You could draw it out and then trace around it and then cut around it, or however you want to do it. I just freestyled mine. And let's see. Let me get my archival ink. And you, like I said, this is going to have like a primitive kind of look to it. So, hold on, let me get the right dauber. We're going to be doing some watercolor painting too on here. But first, I want to go ahead and get my edges good. Because I'm not done yet, but we're just going to go ahead and distress our edges, just kind of so we can see where the lines are and things like that. Let me just do this real quick. And you don't have to use black. You can use whatever color that you're going with, whatever you're making, so that it'll match that theme and color scheme. We're going to do some kind of, it's going to be rustic slash vintage slash shabby. Well, all of it, shabby is kind of vintage, kind of, sort of. Okay, so, wait a minute, let me just get this part right here too. It just helps to see, so you can see what I'm doing by this being distressed. Okay, so we just distressed that. So now you can kind of see the shape of the envelope and what I'm kind of going for. Okay, so now we do know that later this is going to get stitched or glued together, our sides. But before we do that, I want to decorate this front part. So let me move this out of the way. And you could, what you could do is do this in bulk, but I'm going to just kind of do it like step by step on one of them, and then I'll take it through fast forward motion as I do it in bulk, and I'll show you in a little bit. Okay, so I want to go ahead and just tear off a piece of a book page, and I didn't read the pages, so I hope there's nothing crazy on here. So I'm just going to cut it, and you can use a ruler and cut it, or however you want to do it, you know, it's totally up to you. I'm just gonna, I probably should have, let me get my ruler out. I have this big old ruler, but it is a whole lot quicker to use a ruler, so let me just go ahead and do that. And it's actually easier to cut it from the wide side, I think. Well, for me it is anyway. Okay. I'm just going to set this to the side, and I might use these scraps later. Alright, so now I want to take some, I think I want to do brown or coffee color on this. And this is optional. You can do brown, black, whichever whatever you feel comfortable doing. That's if you even want to distress the edges. Whatever you want to do is fine. Actually, I need to cut this down a little bit. Let me just tear it down to where this is going to fit like in the center. I kind of wish I'd have got a little bit wider, but that's fine because it'll still work just as it is. It'll still do just as good. And then I'm just going to set that over to the side. And then I'm just going to glue it. I'm just going to use some paste. And keep in mind, we're just decorating this front part first. And if you want to do the front and back like this, the way this process I'm getting ready to show you, I would do that before I would glue it together, because it's going to get paint and it's going to get wet. And then to me, it's easier working when you're using wet media to just do it one page at a time, so you don't accidentally get the pages behind it wet. You know, so okay, so we've got this here, and so you could go ahead and decide what you want on the back too, or you could just leave it plain. I think I'm gonna leave mine plain because these are gonna be kind of simple. So what I'm gonna do next, now keep in mind this is my front, or yeah, I guess it's actually kind of the back, but so I really could have decorated this side, but we're going to decorate this side. So anyway, we're going to leave this here, and so you're going to get your paintbrush, and depending on what kind of color scheme you're going to go with, I'm going to be using like a combination of like pinks and blues and greens, watercolor, nothing major, and it's going to be lightly colored. So I'm just going to dip. I think I'll first use some blue, and I'm just randomly going to get some blue. I'm just going to rub it on my glass mat just to kind of water it down, because I don't want it too saturated when I put it on here. And no rhyme or reason, I'm just going to watercolor it on, just kind of put it on there. And you can spread it around with water if you want to, if you feel like it's too thick or too bright. And I'm just going to kind of go in a circular motion just to kind of take away some of the lines. Okay. And we're going to be stamping over top of this. So I want to kind of let that dry a little bit. But you could also kind of mix the colors. If you didn't want just only blue, you could go ahead and add another color, which I think I will. I think I'll just put like a little bit of pink in here. So let me clean my brush. And then let me find like a kind of like a bright pink. This is really pretty, because I'm going to be doing, my stamps have like jars and things on them. So it kind of reminds me of like a springy kind of thing, but yet still vintage, if that makes any kind of sense. I don't know. Okay, and then I'm just going to kind of just put a little bit in there. And I'm going to take the water and spread it some more. And it's just to have just a hint of that color. And I think I'm just going to, that's it for that particular one. I'm just going to have the green and the blue. And you can let it air dry, or in my situation, I think I'm just going to take my heating tool and dry it if I plug it up. Okay, so that's pretty much dry, because I didn't I didn't get it too wet. So now what I'm going to do is, like I said, I'm going to be using, this is a little stamp set that I got from Temu, however you pronounce it. And there are like lots of different little jars on here. Some of them are like mason jars, and then you have like a candy jar, maybe a cake dish, candy dish, or something. I'm not really sure. All these little things. So I'm just going to grab a random, I think I'm going to do a mason jar. And then, like I said, I'm going to use some archival ink, jet black. And I've got my small little low block, stamping block. I'm just going to ink it up really well. And then I'm just going to place it like somewhere, not necessarily in the center, but kind of down some, because I'm going to create a scenery. And so let me just set that back down. Put this lid back on here. And I'm not the best at drawing, but I'm just going to have fun with it, because you don't have to be like a major artist to just draw some lines and stuff. And basically all I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw like some flowers coming out of it. Maybe a butterfly or just something, you know, just create a scenery. And that's where these markers come with. Like I said, you don't have to use these type pens. These are acrylic paint pens. You could actually use a ballpoint pen, a black ballpoint pen, or if you have like another fine tip ink pen, like I have another one. This is Recollections, but this is chocolate. It's not the color I'm going for. I'm wanting to use black, but use what you have. So I'm just going to like freestyle. I'm pretending like there's like a flower coming out of it. This is the stem. Maybe draw some leaves on there, you know. And it doesn't have to be like anything major, you know, like I said, just anything. If you know how to doodle, you can do that, which I just might, I don't know. And then I'm just going to create like I'm just going to pretend like this is the surface. This jar is sitting on a flat surface. Let's see, what else could we have coming in with this flower that would look pretty good? I could just put another flower like lying down. And it could be the same kind of flower, or it could be a different flower. Just whatever you want, you know. I'm just going to put some dots around it. Put some dots around this. Like I said, doodling would look good, and I think I will. I'll just put some lines here. Some lines there. Maybe a couple of circles here. Some circles here. No rhyme or reason. But it's pretty simple. And then maybe you could put like a sentiment, like a word or something, a bigger word. I'll have to look and see what I have. I'll probably come back and do that. But for now, that's pretty much it for this. It's really simple. So then when I go to close it, I do need to put something here. So let's see. This comes with, it's like a little, I don't know what kind of stamp this is, but I like it, whatever it is. And you can use other stamps aside from just a few, like the one set that you're using. You can use a combination of different ones just to come up with whatever you're making. So I'm just going to kind of put this, I think I'll just put this in the middle. It's nothing major. It's just enough. And then I do need something back here. Like I said, I wanted to keep it kind of simple. So, hold on. So I do have some other stamps that are a little bit bigger. That I could just kind of randomly just put on here. These also came from either Shein or Temu. I can't remember. I don't know. I've used some of them, but not a whole lot of them. But I think I will use some of these. And then I have other ones too that I could use. But for this particular one, this one's got like different sentiments on it, and I like that. And I think I will go ahead and stamp one of these sentiments on this side. Maybe on the flap, and then just stamp something back here. I think that's what I'll do. Like I said, I want to keep it kind of simple. I don't want to overdo it. I just want just enough, just for it to have something on there. But it can go in different style journals, scrapbooks, or you know what, make cards with it. Whatever you're doing with it, it'll work with it pretty well. Okay, so let me put this here and get it inked up really well. I know you're supposed to ink it like this, but sometimes I still go back and just put it on there like that. I know I'm showing you the wrong way, but this is how I sometimes do it. So, and it works usually for me. So this is what I'm going to do. I just feel like when I do it the other way, it just feels like I'm not getting enough ink on it. So I'm just going to guarantee I've got ink on there. Okay, so now be mindful when you get ready to stamp it, you want to make sure you're stamping it on the correct side or the right side up. So this is in the back. I'm just going to stamp it square in the middle. It's not 100% all the way there, but I could put a sentiment right there, since some of that did kind of come up. And I could put a sentiment on both sides, actually, to be precise, to make it look like it's supposed to be like that, even though it wasn't. That's the good thing about crafting, is you can fix your mistakes by adding on other things. So let me just turn it like that. To a wonderful friend. You can kind of see that, but I don't know. It'll be okay. You can always take some watercolor. You know what? I think I will. I'm going to take just a little bit of blue watercolor. Let me open this up. Just to kind of go around that area where it says to a wonderful friend. Just enough to kind of give it some color. And that's what I like about it being on this cardstock, is this brown, is it looks really good. So you have your two colors that kind of blend in together. It's not really deep, but it still works. So yeah, I'm not even going to worry about that. And then I'm going to get my sentiment up here. And like I said, I'm not even really looking. I'm just putting something there. What's that? Spread your wings. I guess that's what that is. I can't see too good. Okay, so let me put this back here so I don't lose that. And then where's my little small stamping block? Oh, here it is. Yeah, if I don't put stuff back up immediately, I will lose something. All right, so let's just go ahead and stamp this. And I think this says spread your wings. We're just gonna try to get it centered. Okay, spread your wings. That's cute enough. So you have that and that. And what I may do is, since this kind of covers up that right there, I want to continue that on like up through here to make it look like that's part of it. So it'll show here and then right there as well. So I kind of like that. What do you guys think? So yeah, there's that, and then here's this. So that's basically one of them, and then we're gonna have to stitch that in a little while, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So now, and you can make different sizes, and we are gonna make some different sizes. So let me move these stamps out of the way for right now. And we'll probably come back to these again in a little bit. But first, let me move all this out the way. Let's just go ahead and get our envelope sizes, and then I'm going to repeat the same process. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of do this in bulk. Now keep in mind, like I said, we're going to be making different sizes, and I have 8.5 by 11-inch papers. And now this one, I'm going to go ahead and fold it in half. And then I'm going to be cutting this. And like I said, if you have a scoring board, you can score it at 5.5. But where's my paper trimmer at? I'm going to cut this down. Sorry guys, I'm not organized. Alright, so we're going to cut this in half. Or it doesn't even have to be in half, just wherever you want to cut it at. So, is this 5.5? So, what's that? Half of 5 is 2.5. So, 2 3/4. Or 2, wait a minute. What size is this? Oh, 8.5. So I need 4 1/4. Goodness. All right. So let's just do 4 1/4. I had it in my head that this dimension was this dimension. So don't pay me any attention. We're going to cut that in half. And so we're going to have 2 different ones that are going to go like this. So we're going to do this similar to how we did this one. Now, if you remember, now this part is where it opens up. So this is where your flap's going to go on the side that opens up. You're going to fold it down to however far down you want your flap to go. And we're going to do that on both of these. We're just going to estimate roughly how far down you want it to go. And you're going to take your scoring tool, you're going to burnish it. You're going to smooth it down. Bone folder. Make sure I got it even. Same thing here. Make sure that when you do burnish it, that it's going to burnish evenly. Lift that back up, and you're going to open it, and you're going to take that first piece off. Same thing here. Lift this up, open it, and you're going to take that first one off, the one in the front. Take that off, and you can use a paper trimmer or your scissors, whichever you're comfortable using. That's fine. So when you close that back up, this is going to come down, and that's going to be a flap. Same thing here. This is going to become a flap. can keep these for another project. And now remember how we did our flaps. We folded them together in half. And then you can round it off. Or if you want, you can use your punch. Whichever you want to do. Whichever you want to do is fine. You can round it, you can make it straight, or you can just whatever you want. It's totally up to you. So we've got that. And on these, this one I think I might make it straight. Like have like a rectangular edge. Just kind of do like that. And then we've got that one. And then I'm going to go ahead and do some more. This time I think I want, let's see, I'll turn it this way. It's still going to be the same. Okay, so let's just put this one in half. I want some slightly different size ones. So what I think I'll do on this one is instead of it having a flap, I'm going to have some different pockets, or I'm going to have a pocket come up. So I'll have a pocket here and then a pocket here. So I want to make sure that this is folded just right. So that when I fold it up like this, with this one, I may have to go ahead and stitch it. That way when I fold it up like this, this part won't shift. You see right here? And it makes it look like it's not like lined up right when it was at first. When it's lined up before I fold it again for the second time. So, or I could just go ahead and take this off. Or better yet, open it up. And then fold this up. And then fold this back across, but fold it across on top of it to where it's still level. Yeah, that's what we'll do. That works. So basically, let me show you again what I did. Okay, so we had it folded up like that. But doing it like that, it wasn't going to line up correctly. These two weren't going to line up correctly when we folded it a second time. So I opened this up, cut it right here, folded this over here, folded this back down like this, folded this up, and then this right here, this is going to be a pocket once it's stitched, and then also behind here is going to be a pocket because we're going to stitch going down and around and around, and this is going to stay open. And since this is going to stay open, this is a good time to go ahead and take the circle punch and put like a little dip here and a little dip here before we stitch, because it's hard to kind of get that circle punch up in there when you've already got it stuck in there, and then you don't want it to tear when you're trying to cut it. And in this case, I've got a 2.5 inch circle punch. You can use whichever size, and you can make it go as deep as you like or whatever. And it didn't punch it all the way around, all the way through. That's fine. I'm going to do this one the same way. I'm going to try to get it centered. Yeah, my punch, sometimes after a while, it quits cutting as well as it should. Alright. Almost forgot what I was doing. Okay, so fold that over, this goes up, this goes over. And then once we distress all of these, you'll be able to see what's what. So I'm gonna do one more. I think I'm just do that one more similar to how we did this first one, which is basically just folding it over. Which is super easy. Burnish it, and then wherever you want your flap to come down, however far down you want it, is where you'll burnish it at. And you're going to open it up. And you're going to cut. And then I just want to make sure that when you fold this over, make sure that it's even. Okay. And then we're going to fold our flap together. Actually, in this case, I'm just going to use my little edges, a little edge punch. And if you wanted to, you could also round off these edges, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. But that's just an option. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in fast-paced motion. And I'm going to distress everything. I'm going to add the book pages. I'm going to add the paints. I'm going to add the stamps. I'm going to add the drawings. And then we're going to come back and then I'm going to show you what I made. So just sit back and watch me as we do this process. Okay, so this is basically what I came up with. I didn't put a closure on here because you can always add that later on. But I like how the watercolors came out up against the book pages and the stamps and all that, how it kind of worked out together. And I just kind of stitched around the edges or whatever. So I really like that. I almost kind of like the back sides almost more than I do the fronts. But these will look good in a journal, depending on what you're making, you know. And then we've got these right here. So then we've got a pocket here. And then that pocket that's there. And then this pocket that's back here. And This could be, this could slide into something. That way you don't have to cover that up. Or you could glue that down to something. Or just have it as like a page. Maybe add like a little hinge and then have it swivel back and forth or something. There's so many different things you can do with these. But yeah, this is how these turned out. And like I said, I didn't add a closure because I didn't want to cover up all this right here. That's something to think about when you're creating it. Think about, like, if you are going to add a closure, how it's going to close. What you could always do, as not to mess this part up, is you could put like a, what do you call it? An eyelet right here, along with some elastic. And then just kind of have the elastic coming around the part, you know. And then that'll keep it closed. Or even put like a belly band of, what do you call it? Why can't I think? Velcro. Put like a Velcro belly button. A belly button. Oh my goodness. A Velcro belly band like here. And then that will also keep it closed. Like, the sky is the limit with all the different things you can do with these. But I do like how those watercolors turned out and the drawings and all that. Like I said, I'm not the best at drawing, but give it a shot just to see what you can come up with. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please check out my other videos and my blog and social media sites. And as always,